So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Flourish session. I'm here with Vicky from Beltin Wigan, who is going to be taking you through a few hours of self-branding. Vicky's going to introduce herself and tell you a bit more about that in a moment. Vicky's been on one of our Time to Grow programs previously, and now she's set up doing all sorts of different interesting things in the world of social media, and we work with her a lot now, and she's one of our Flourish associates. So welcome, Vicky. Vicky, do you want to say a couple of words about yourself before we start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I will do. Thanks everybody for coming today. I really appreciate it. There's always that little moment in your head where you start a session where you think, oh, what if no one turns up? So I'm really pleased to see so many faces. Yeah, my name's Vicky. I've got a background in journalism. I worked for national newspapers and magazines as a sub-editor mainly, and then a writer for sort of 15 years. And then I decided to retrain as a teacher, and I spent about 5 years on and off in primary schools. So I ended up coming back out of teaching back into journalism, and then I decided in the pandemic to set up my own business. Why wouldn't you? So I was furloughed from a job in the pandemic, and I got a bit bored after a few weeks at home with my two daughters. And I thought I've really had the seed of an idea in my head for quite a while now, the way I could help people like community groups and not-for-profits, because I'd done a lot of volunteering in my local area. But people really struggled with marketing and just needed a little bit of a push sometimes, because they did have those skills in there, but maybe not the confidence. So set up the business, and yeah, I've not looked back since. It's been absolutely brilliant. I'm helping people with websites, sort of social media posting, brochures, leaflets, anything that you need on digital or print. And I do a lot of training as well, so that can help you to take that marketing forward and make it your own. Okay, so am I all right to share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone's got any questions for Vicky now or throughout, then do let us know. It's it's a really interesting story, and I think possibly one that can resonate with lots of people who are looking for different types of work. But it's really encouraging to hear how your business has done really well, even in particularly challenging times like a pandemic. So yeah, go for it, Vicky.
Thank you very much. Okay, while I'm just talking as well at the beginning, I thought it might be a good idea if you just do a little bit of an introduction to the channel. If you want to tell people who you are, what you're working in or what you like to work in, and if you've got a website or any social media channels that you want people to have a look at, you can put those in the chat as well, because this is a networking opportunity as well. So let's not waste that opportunity.
Sorry, do you want everyone to do that in the chat, or are we going to? Yeah, brilliant.
In the chat, yeah, in the chat, and then we'll by the end of the session, we should have lots of sort of contacts in the chat that you can save and get in touch with people after. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen now, so you should be able to see a presentation, and we're going to start on the first page, which is always a good way to begin. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are looking at self-branding to improve your career today. So this is like the objectives basically of the session today. This is what we're going to be covering. We're going to look at creating profiles on different social media channels. We're going to look at adding content as well, because we need to keep it nice and varied. And also building your community, because once you've got those socials running, it's really important to keep in touch with people. We're going to look at your previous achievements and how you can bring those into your content as well. And we're going to do a little bit of brainstorm. I think can I put people in breakout rooms, Shelley, later? Would that be possible? Yeah, we can do some brainstorming about your previous achievements and how you can include them in posts. We're going to explore soft skills as well. So those skills that are transferable from one job to another, or even soft skills that you've learned in your daily life. It could be at home, volunteering, parenting. It could be not particularly job related. It could be from a hobby. And we're going to look at wider networking online and in person. Then also we're going to look at, should I put an extra one on there? We're going to look at sort of presenting your personal branding in a different way, not just on socials. We're going to look at websites and portfolios of work and a bit of blogging as well. So let's move on to the next slide. If I can work out how to do that. Yeah. So personal branding, what is it all about? It means a lot of things, doesn't it? Personal branding. Some of it's quite invisible and not very noticeable, and it's just a very subtle thing where people have built up sort of an online persona. Sometimes it's more visible, like people set up their own sort of logos with professional photos. They might choose a proper branding, like with colour scheme, patterns. And that kind of personal branding is often used when people are self-employed and they want to carry on their career like under their name. But there's no reason that you can't do that if you're looking for a job or you're just looking for your next opportunity. If you sort of imagine that you're a company, and if you think of companies like Coca-Cola, I always use as an example, they've got a recognisable colour scheme, haven't they, with the red and the black and the white. They've got a logo which basically hasn't changed barely since about, well, I think it was like 1910s or 20s when it first came out. They're a recognisable name. They're everywhere that you go. You see them in the shops, you see them online, you see the advertising. And it's a similar thing when it comes down to any kind of marketing or personal branding. You want people to recognise you. And I think we've got someone who's not on mute. Can you just make sure that you're on mute? Thank you. If you want people to recognise you as a person and then immediately link your face and what you're doing with your skills, your experience, your background, your beliefs, and that's what personal branding is all about. So a vision board will really help, and there is a session coming up on the 17th of March with Jackie Bailey, and that's a Flourish session about vision boarding. So please do that, because if you haven't already done a vision board or you've not done one for a while, then this can really help you sort of get all your ideas together in one place. So yeah, you wanted to attract like-minded people who are going to get on board with you and what you're doing, and this is why it's so important to brand yourself properly. So you can start by improving your online persona by sort of creating different profiles on different social media platforms. We're really lucky nowadays. Like I'm saying nowadays, I'm 40. So when I was finishing uni and looking for a job and stuff, nobody did digital CVs or had social media really. I think it was MySpace, which was the rage back then. But it wasn't really used for sort of careers. So there was a limited opportunity to sort of put yourself out there online. But now we're really lucky. We've got lots of different social media channels that we can use for free. We need to make sure that we're utilising these, because employers nowadays, or stakeholders or customers, anybody who might work with you in the future, either an employee or a colleague, or people who are going to search for you online, and the first thing that they'll find online is likely to be social media channels. So yeah, you need to make sure that these social media channels reflect who you are. Sometimes we've used them in the past for day-to-day things like showing people what you've had for breakfast, that kind of thing, and that maybe some of the more mundane things in life. But we really can show our qualities through our social media and show off these soft skills as well. It's all part of what the wider networking online and in person. If people recognise your face because they've seen you online and they've followed your social medias and they've maybe read your blog on your website, seen a video, then they're more likely to come up to you in person and start a conversation or arrange a Zoom meeting with you because they know who you are, they've seen you, and they want to get to know you a little bit better. Oh, I seem to have gone the wrong way there, sorry. So what I've sort of discovered this concept recently called Ikigai. It's a Japanese concept for finding your purpose or reason for being, and it makes so much sense. It's basically looking at certain aspects of your life and then really digging down deeper into what you want from life and what your sort of purpose in life is and what your goals are. So we're going to have a go. We're going to have a quick exercise now. I hope you've all got a bit of paper handy. If you haven't, just grab a notebook or something on your phone. We're going to just look at the outer 4 sections at the moment. We're going to try mapping these out. So we've got what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. Okay, so we're just going to start with those first of all, and then we're going to dig a little bit deeper. So we'll just give you a couple of minutes to just scribble down, and I'll do the same. Just scribble down those 4 sections.
Can everyone see the words okay on this? Put your hands up if you can't see anything. But the 4 circles are what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. I love this idea. I've not heard of Ikigai. Vicky.
Yeah, it seems just so sensible, because you can kind of get lost, can't you, in your thoughts and your feelings.
And pulled in different directions, and if you can find this sweet spot, then that's the ideal scenario, isn't it?
That's what it's all about, yeah.
And when you do one of these, you call it a Vicky guy.
That's a really good idea. I'm going to put that on my notepad now. This will also help you if you're applying for any kind of funding in future, because you can sort of bring these elements in to funding bids, particularly the sort of what the world needs section, because that's what social enterprises are all about, isn't it? Really addressing the needs of the society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and then so you should have sort of 4 areas now on the outside that you've had to think about. So the next section is where the overlap happens. So with the passion, for example, that's like a combination of what you love and what you were good at. So if you can think of sort of a time where you're doing something that you love and you're good at it, or an example of when that happened, or even a feeling of how you felt when that happened. And then we'll just go through the other inner 4 sections then. So my example would be like my what you love was helping people. And then what you were good at, I've put digital skills and training. So my passion comes in together where I help people learn how to upskill.
And it might be, you know, depending on where people are in terms of developing their ideas, it might be that you have more than one thing in each of the sections, and some of them might overlap more naturally, and it might be that that's where you focus what you work on.
Right, and then in the middle, when you've got everything that comes together, that is when you are hitting the sweet spot. Like that, I like that phrase, Shelley. Like Shelley said, that's the sweet spot. That's your ikigai. So, does anybody want to share with us sort of some of the things that they've put down on their notepads? Can you explain it a little bit to us? If you just come off your mic if you want to have a little share. Abby.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, basically, I put for what you love. Again, I put making others happy. That's my main thing. What I enjoy in life. What the world needs. I put more support for DV victims because I don't think that there is just like help at the start, but then going forward and how you move forward with your life, I don't feel like there is any support for that because it is something I've experienced myself. What can you be paid for? Providing a service. I kind of didn't get that part. And what you're good at, listening, talking, and helping others.
That's amazing, brilliant. And then when those overlaps come in, do you feel like you'll be hitting this sort of sweet spot in life where when you're working to help people?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. There's a bit of a delay on that, but it was I heard you. That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Sorry, it keeps saying my internet's
Oh, we heard you loud and clear, so thank you very much.
Sometimes if your internet's a bit sluggish, if you turn off your camera, sometimes it means we can get your sound. But yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, or you can put stuff in the chat, but yeah, that can help.
Thank you. Yeah, another good one as well is if you're on your computer or you've turned off like the Wi-Fi on your other devices, for some reason that helps speed it up. And does anybody else want to share an example that they've written down? Don't be shy.
I can go. So this is kind of the reason that I ended up looking at going into coaching, because my profession, I was made redundant recently, but my profession was kind of in the corporate world, managing people. And the thing that I enjoyed the most out of that was helping other people, particularly women, because I worked in quite a male-dominated area, work out what their own version of success was rather than the typical moving up the career ladder, and helping them to get there. So that kind of came to lead me to, if I'm going to do something different, what would I do? And that's why I want to get into coaching others, because I thought, well, the world needs more women at more senior levels, but women that actually enjoy being at senior levels instead of getting burnt out. And you can be paid for that. And I think the coaching and the mentoring side of things are the things that I'm good at, and that's what I feel most passionate about. So if I can bring all of that together in a coaching role, then I think that would be my ikigai.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks, Eve. That is the aim, isn't it? Because when you love what you do and you know how it can help people, then your work doesn't feel like work then, does it? It
Yeah.
just feels like something you want to do. But you get paid for it. That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing. So hopefully we'll all be in this brilliant ikigai state of mind in a few years. I think I'm getting there. I'm doing some really enjoyable stuff at the moment, so it's all good. Right. Okay. So we're going to just have a little think. I think you've probably got it down on your paper now, but this links in now. Who you want to be, what you want to do, links in with what your public image needs to be and how you're going to portray that. I've got an example up here who's one of my faves. He's called Neil Patel. I don't know if you've heard of him before, but he's kind of an internet guru. So website guru. He's really good on SEO, blogging. In a lot of the stuff that he offers, the information that he offers is completely free. So make sure you follow him on Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere. He does some really good videos as well, and he's a dead friendly, personable guy. So think about the public image that you want to portray. What do you want people to do or think when they see you online? And we're going to look at that sort of call to action in a bit. And how can having an easily recognizable personal brand help you? So there's sort of three questions that you might want to consider. So for me, my sort of goal was to portray helpfulness, a willingness to learn as well. I'm a sort of a lifelong learner, and I kind of advocate, constant self-improvement. I want to portray my skills to people so that I can show them what I do and what I do well. My experience as well, my past experience, which I could be better at, to be honest. I should get a little bit more teaching stories in there and some tabloid stories as well. And but I want to portray that I'm friendly and approachable. I've got a good attitude, I think, and some of my beliefs as well, especially when you work for when you want to be in the social enterprise arena. You need to make sure you sort of aligning your beliefs with what you do. So what I want people to do is I want them to contact me. So I usually leave a call to action in my posts, like get in touch or visit my page or see my blog. I want them to engage with my socials. I want them to follow me so that they're seeing my content again and again and again. Sometimes I might want them to give me a job or give me use my business so that they can become sort of part of my regular work. I might want them to collaborate with me as well and do joint projects. And I want them to speak to me in real life as well. So this goes back to getting your face out there and your voice out there so that people will feel like they can just come up to you if they see you in an event or if you're walking through town and say, oh, hi. And that's how you build relationships, isn't it, basically? So the goal is to become recognisable online, and it's forming habits. So if people see you and your branding and your voice and your sort of ethos all the time, then they will think of you and your persona. So then it gets to the point where, like the Coca-Cola logo, if you see a van going past with Coca-Cola on, you think, I want the Coke now. I want to go to the shop and get a Coke or whatever, chocolate. Takeaways are the worst, aren't they? Just eat. So that's the kind of the power of branding, really. Oh, I've gone the wrong way again. So here's just a few examples. There was loads of examples online. If you want some sort of inspiration and some ideas, Canva's brilliant for that. This is the app that I'm on at the moment, Canva. If you haven't got Canva, there's a free version and you can get the pro version for free if you work for a not-for-profit. or if you have applied as a not-for-profit. Otherwise, it's about £100 a year. And Canva has lots of templates on that you can use that are sort of already done, kind of like this. You just put your picture in, you put your words in, your logo, and you're away. So consider creating your own website, blog, or portfolio, so that you can get people who are interested in you in the socials to engage a little bit more with you and find out more about you than just a snippet. For further reading, there's a really good article on Wix blog called Personal Branding, the Ultimate Step-by-Step Guide. So I would really recommend that after this session, if you want to find out a little bit more, then give that a read. There's some really clear sort of steps on how to improve.
Can you just repeat what that's called, please?
Yes, it's called the Wix blog, WIX, and it's called Personal Branding, the Ultimate Step-by-Step Guide. And yeah, it's got some really good tips in there. Right, so we're going to look at LinkedIn a bit now. Can we have a little bit of a chat in the chat? Can I just see where you are with LinkedIn? If you're already on it, if you're not on it, if you're on it but don't really use it much, or if you're on it and sort of use it all the time, sort of regularly. I'm on it. I've got a business page on it as well, and I try and use it about 3 or 4 times a week. I should really be using it every day, but time-wise, I get a bit distracted. But I've got a few tips on that might help you as well. So some not on it. I'm not on it. Keen to learn more. Haven't really used it much, not on it yet. Used in previous job roles, but need to update. Yeah, that's brilliant, because it is like a CV online all the time, so it will grow and build with you if you keep it going. I'm on it, but I don't post, don't really use it, not yet. Right, okay, so that's good. So majority sort of not using it too much. And yeah, if you've got 2 profiles that you need to combine, that's a really good idea. If you've got 2, somebody's made one of me. I think it was a teaching agency, and I can't delete it, and I keep complaining to LinkedIn. There's nothing on it, but it's just my name, and I want it taken down. So I'll have to get on with them. LinkedIn is brilliant for self-branding. It's basically Facebook for work. So people get a little bit intimidated by it sometimes and think, oh, I don't know what to post, or I wouldn't know who to connect with. And I can't connect with them because, I once, I don't know, spilled my coffee on them in a meeting or something like that. Don't worry about it. Get yourself out there. Make as many connections as you can. I've got a load of connections because I worked for trade and specialist magazines, and I ended up going to a lot of conferences in these massive halls like the Excel Centre and the NEC, and everyone you meet gives you a business card and has a little chat with you and says, oh, find me on LinkedIn. So I am connected with a lot of people who it might not be relevant, I might never do business with them, or I might never work with them, but they know people as well. So if I'm looking for something, or I'm offering something and they share it, then you never know who you can see. So get as many connections as you can. Link up with people here who you know as well. You can link up with me. I absolutely will link up. So we're gonna just go through sort of creating a good basic profile. Try and get a picture of your face up there, and quite a close picture of your face so that people can see you, because again, it's all about the personal branding. You want people to recognize you. For cover image, try and get the right size, because it's a really narrow cover. But then when you go on, that's on a computer, the screenshot that I've taken. So when you go on your phone, it's going to crop off the sides. So put whatever is important if you want to do a graphic. Put anything important right in the middle, because it's just going to get cut off on a phone. If you want to, if you're really looking for people to connect with you, and you want them to ring you or email you or go on your website, then I would put up here on your cover picture your contact details, because LinkedIn has a little bit of a thing where it wants you to use its messaging service. Basically, it's like Messenger, so you can do that, but it's a bit stilted. So I would rather sort of people got in touch with me. So if you want to, you could put your details up there. I've got them all on my business page, but for my personal page, I've just gone with the logo. We're going to just have a look at how you will look, and this is a snippet, the one with Sally Leslie Golding on. When people scroll through their posts, like they scroll through a feed on Facebook, on LinkedIn, they're going to see this: your picture in a little circle, your name, whether you're following them or not, and then they're going to see one line of information. So that information has got to be about 10 words or less, I would recommend. Some people go for a straight, like this lady's got a job description of what she does, because that's her role. She wants to meet people who are interested in her sort of in her career. I've put something like telling stories about brilliant businesses or boosting brilliant businesses, because I've wanted to be a little bit more of a sort of personal tagline. And this tagline is quite important, because with personal branding, this tagline you can use everywhere. You can use it on your website, your business card, your leaflets, even just in conversation when people say, "Oh, hi, what's your name?" and you tell them, and then you can say, "Right, well, I'm Vicky Gallaghan, and I help small businesses to shout about what they do." So if you've got a little tagline, it just really helps to succinctly say what you do very quickly. Then you can elaborate more in your about section. So you can, I would create like quite a captivating intro on the about, so make it a little bit, a bit catchy and dramatic. I've asked a question. That's always a good way to get people engaged as well. And think about your business pitch. Think about what you would tell people in a networking meeting if you just had 30 seconds to speak. Try and sum it up, and then underneath I've gone into a little bit more detail into a description, so there should be plenty on there. If people are still reading by the time they get to the bottom, there should be plenty on there for them to find out about what to do. Let's go to the next one. And then if you've got a business or a branding, like perhaps you are just starting out, but you want to have a little bit of a play around with your brand, I would recommend creating a separate business page, and it will appear later in that work section under the 9 squares. So it's basically like a landing page for your website, for your business. So I will use your logo in there, get your contact details on your cover image, and the cover image for your business page is a different size to your cover image for your personal page as well, which is a bit of a pain. But if you go onto Canva and type in LinkedIn business page cover, I think it will bring up the right size, but if not, they're on this slide here, and it does tell you in LinkedIn when you try and upload a picture, it'll tell you what size you should do it at. Then use this page to post up your business activities, like I've been showing this event, I've got a networking event tomorrow. I've done sort of customers, like customer testimonials on there. If you can get a customer to take a picture of what you've done, or with them, selfies with them and that kind of stuff, all of that, anything to do with your business, get it on here, and then you can post that on your personal page. You can share that to your personal page to keep your followers, the followers of you, in the loop about what you do. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, just fire away at this point. So your personal page should be exactly that, personal. Sorry for the image on here, but I thought this was about as personal as you can get on LinkedIn. You should speak from the heart and be honest, and your personal page is the place where, you know, we were talking about your beliefs and your values. This is where, and your passions, this is where it's going to come through on your personal page. Keep things positive if you can, but address any concerns and setbacks, you know, as long as you're not slating anybody or being like really negative about things, then I think that's fine. Don't be too formal. Don't worry too much about your spelling and grammar, because we're all human. And if you procrastinate, you just end up not posting anything. So Grammarly can help you. If you look at the website, Grammarly, it's free again, and you can sign up with your Facebook account or an email. And it basically is like a spell check, but on speed. It's like amazing at picking up any errors. It will suggest different words for you. If you said like, oh, I've got a really big project coming up, it'll say big is a, you know, overused word. Why not try gigantic or humongous? So it will really help you to improve writing. And I have Grammarly up all day on my desktop at work. I make sure that before I post any copy on online, or when I'm doing shifts for papers and things like that, I always make sure that I copy the text into Grammarly, give it a good spell check, and then post it back into where it's going. So this guy is Craig, and he's actually a double glazing salesperson. So the post has got nothing to do with double glazing, but he's talking about reality in social media and sort of the pressures on people to look perfect on socials. And it's a good example of how, you know, none of us is perfect. So, you know, just embrace your humanity, your humanness. So don't let social media warp your reality. These are the pictures of him sort of before and after, literally a shower. So that's all he's done. He's said perfection's like promoted so much on socials, as you know, everybody wants to look like they've got the perfect body and face and the best lifestyle, but everybody knows, you know, everyone's got problems as well, and issues and worries. So, you know, you can talk about them as well. So he posted this up on LinkedIn, and he's got really good engagement with it because it's a human story. It's not a business story. He's not saying, come by my double glazing, I've just done this job for somebody and they're really happy with it. It's about him as a person. And this is the sort of content on LinkedIn in particular, which is getting the most engagement. So you've got two parts to LinkedIn. You've got your business page, if you want to have a business or professional page, and then you've got your personal page, and these should sort of reflect all the different sides to that. Okay, so we've got some post ideas here, and after this, I'm going to ask you to write a post. If you just do it on your notepads. So bear in mind what you want to get across on your next post. So this goes for all socials, really. If you're doing it on Twitter, obviously you've got a word count, so you're going to have to really rein in the number of words that you're using. So first of all, identify your audience for each post. sometimes most people or businesses will have sort of 3 or 4 different types of audiences. So for me, I've got my existing clients, potential clients. I've got sort of partners and collaborators like Flourish, who I'm going to do work with, or I might be networking with, and sort of other stakeholders as well, like in the wider community, who just want to support me or might recommend me. So think about your audience for each post, and when you've got your audience in your head, so I'll say, oh, this one's for potential clients because I need some more potential clients on my books. So I'm going to keep that in my head when I'm writing. I'm going to tailor the content exactly to them, by sort of referring to them as and thinking about them like, have you set up a new business, or perhaps you need a new logo, and really think about who I'm speaking to in that post, because if it relates to them, they'll keep reading it. If it doesn't relate to them, they've already got a logo, then they'll just scroll past, which is fine. But I want to get into the psyche of the person who needs this new logo. So keep to the point, and use any extra information or things that you think, oh, I should mention this and I should mention that. Keep them for your next posts. That's more content. Keep vary your post content as well, different types of posts. And see Neil Patel, he's got a blog up called 101 Content Ideas. This blog post is really good. It sort of gives you some inspiration about what to post up. So for me, I tend to post up sort of testimonials, events, networking stuff, shares. I share a lot of other people's stuff which is relevant, which helps to build your community. We'll have a look at that after. Questions as well, like, have you ever used this, or could you use help with that? And the problem and solution posts do really, really well. So if you're addressing a problem, like if I say, like my Instagram one, for example, I've put a post up saying, are you struggling with Instagram? Does it make your hair tear your hair out? You know, you know you need to be on it, but you're not sure where to get started. Then come on to one of my Instagram training sessions. So, and then I go through what we'll learn on the session. So you've addressing a problem that people might have, my clients might have, and I'm offering them a solution. And that is how you get people to contact you. Stay positive. I always try and stay positive on my social media, because I just think if I've got a negative thing to say, I'd rather just say it to a friend or a colleague, or, you know, somebody that I know in private. I don't like the whinging posts on Facebook, and you might have something to say about an issue or something negative that's sort of bugging you, but if you've got to think your followers, are they going to want to see that negativity? I personally don't think so. Highlight other people's achievements as well. Really big up your crowd, because if you're giving out to them, then they're going to give back to you. So really help boost each other, especially with the women in the field. Come on, girls, we've got to stick together. And these are my 7 post must-haves for standout posts. So this is what I want to have a look at on your notebooks now. So hopefully you've been inspired to write a post on your social media. It doesn't matter if you're not on any social media, we'll just write it anyway, and it'll be good practice. So I would try and get my logo and branding on there. If you haven't got any personal branding yet, then that's fine. Try and get your face on it instead. Or as well as if you want to have a look at branding, get onto Canva, and you can get templates for logos that you can create for yourself. And I would just choose a colour scheme of about 4 or 5 different colours that sort of complement each other. Choose choose 3 different fonts, one for your headings, one for subheadings, and one for copy, and try and stick with the 3 fonts in all of your graphics. Then, so that your logo or your branding is going to be on your photograph, basically, your picture. So a headline or an impact statement is always good. So right at the very first line is what people will see when they're scrolling through. They won't see your whole post until they click on read more. So make sure that first sort of 5 or 6 words really count. Sometimes if it's an event, and I'll do it in capital letters, and I'll put like Instagram training session this week, or book your Instagram training for X amount, and just put that in caps on the top line. And then if people are interested in that, they're going to click through. And some people do it when they're doing those sort of personal stories, like the double glazing salesman. They'll sort of just put on the top line, like, oh, I had the best day ever today, or kind of like, oh, I thought today was going to be terrible, but it turned out to be the best day of my life. Those like little snippets of the line that people are going to see, grab them in. Don't forget to put your contact details in it. That's kind of links to number 5, the call to action. So if you've got a business page on Facebook, you can put the send message icon, the send message button on. I usually do that. If you just want people to email you or go on your website, make sure that they know how to contact you, and try and pick one way so that they've got kind of a definite place to go, a channel to go to. I work with some clients and they never check the social media messages, so I always just put an automatic reply in the Facebook pages to say, this social media is not checked daily, please call this number for an instant response, or email this address. Hashtags, really important. Neil Patel, who I mentioned before, has got a really good site where you can do some keyword research. So my keywords are things like marketing, training, social media training, Beltin Wigan. I always use my company name. You could use your full name if you're going for your personal branding. You ideally need to use about 30 hashtags, and there's a lot of debate about how many hashtags you should use. But I follow 2 girls, they're called the 2 Lauras, and they've got a really good social media management business, and they've got a group on Facebook where all the social media managers join and swap sort of advice and ideas. And the general feeling is that you can't have too many hashtags. Why would you not put them in? Because you might as well. And it doesn't really bother people because you just put them right at the end of your post. So they've read the post anyway. They're not going to read all the hashtags. It's just that if they search for something on the platform, then they just happen to search for that particular hashtag, then they're going to find your post, or they're probably going to find your post. So there's also a really good shortcut if you do the text replacement on your phone. On an iPhone, it's called text replacement, and it's in your settings. You can write like a really long sentence, so put all your hashtags on it, and then you can create a text replacement shortcut. So if I type in hashtag BLT now, which is short for Beltin, not the sandwich, then all my hashtags appear, and I just press and all my hashtags are in. So don't waste time typing out 30 hashtags or saving them on the computer. It's just a text replacement.
Do you know how you get that on an Android?
I don't know, no, but it's an accessibility thing. So if you Google accessibility and text replacement on Android, you should get some instructions up. Because it will save you time. Also, that's really useful for like your phone number, your email address, website, and any sort of common phrases that you use. Like we were talking about your tagline before, you could create one for your tagline, just put tag, hashtag tag, and then every time you type that, your little tagline will come up then.
Brilliant, thank you.
No worries. I would advocate writing 100 words plus if you can. Obviously, you can't do that on Twitter. You're going to have to just, squeeze things in and use your ampersands and put your Jan instead of January and all the rest of it, kind of shorten it down. But on Facebook, LinkedIn, and in Instagram, did I say that one? Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. There's no reason why you can't write at least 100 words. The more you write, the better. I mean, people aren't really going to sit there reading it if it's uber long, but they might do if they're interested in that. So try and stick to that sort of between 100 and 150 words, which sounds like a lot, but actually it's probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 lines. And I usually separate each line with a return so that it's not all one block of text. It's like a sentence, a gap, a sentence, gap, sentence, gap. And then emojis, like I think there was a time like a couple of years ago where emojis were everywhere and people were using loads of emojis. They've sort of waned a little bit recently, but they can be really, really useful, and they don't have to be the facey, smiling ones. They could be arrows. I use hearts quite a lot. I volunteer for a food pantry and we have the apples our logo, so I use like green and red apples. I like the thumbs up one, me personally, for belting, because I think belting is kind of like, hey, belting, that's great. So I use the thumbs up one a lot. Have a look through, and obviously if they're relevant for your business, then brilliant, use them. Just breaks up the text a little bit and it makes it a bit more eye-catching and interesting, really. So we're just going to have 5 minutes now. I'm going to turn off my camera. I think, Shelley, is that okay with you if you're still there, Shelley?
I'll unmute, that would help. Yeah, absolutely. I'll also pause the video and we'll be back in 5 minutes. So welcome back to the second part of our self-branding workshop, and I'll hand you over to Vicky.
Thank you. Hopefully you've all got a brew and are suitably refreshed. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of give you a little bit of time now to have a go at writing a standout post. So you might not have time to do the first one, which is the sort of logo and branding picture. That can take you a while, but if you just do the actual text part, so with a headline or an impact statement, try and keep it to like 7 words or 8 words. Don't you use sort of 100 words. This isn't in the right order. I don't know why I've done it in this order, but about 100 words of what you want to get across. It can be quite a personal one if you want it to be, or it can be something more sort of related to what you've done in work, or a combination of the two. Make sure you put your contact details on it, which will be your call to action. You can have your contact details in your image if you don't want to include them in your actual post as well. That's quite a good tip. And think of those hashtags. You might not have time to do 30 today, but if you try and do sort of 10, a good way of getting hashtag sort of inspiration as well is to look at competitors or people that are doing the similar things to you. And you can really go into the nitty-gritty and look at how many times these hashtags are being searched for on each platform, so that you get your hashtag team up and running. But the main part is the 100 words, really. So I've got an example here that I've put up about on Instagram about WordPress, a WordPress training session, which you know, it could have been longer actually, looking at it. So I've put my first line was thinking of getting a website, but want to manage it yourself, question. So the question's really good for engaging people. They want to read the answer, don't they? So they'll read on a little bit more. We can help build the sites you use to your brand guidelines and train you on how to update it. So the words like you and me are really good for getting on a level with people, rather than saying like your company or we can train businesses or we can train staff. If you can use the word you and your and us and we, they're a lot more personable. So there are no expensive update fees, just refresh the content at your leisure and pay WordPress directly for hosting. And then I've put a little bit more info. This requires 2 to 4 hours training depending on the makeup of the site, includes e-commerce sites. And then I've got some hashtags, my general BLT hashtags. And then I've also stuck a couple of extra on. So I've got hashtag WordPress, web skills, DIY websites, Beltin Wigan, marketing business, social media, Wigan business, and inspiration. But I should have put training on there as well. I don't know why I didn't put training on there. It's also worth noting as well that on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, you can go back in and edit your post. And if you think, oh no, I forgot to put this in, usually just there's 3 dots somewhere next to your post that you can click on and make the changes. Some people that haven't used that before, and then it's worth knowing that. But you can't do that on Twitter. Once it's out there, it's out there. I think you can add pictures to a tweet. I'm not sure, but
and you can always delete it if it's something absolutely diabolical, and you need just delete it and redo it.
Yeah, delete it. Or if it's just like one typo or something, sometimes I'll just put in the comments, or I meant such thing, not such thing. But
yeah, and that takes you back to your point about being human and personal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many people, you know, make mistakes, and it's just human, isn't it? We're writing all day, and
absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, especially if you've got sausage fingers like me and you're on a tiny iPhone. Right, does anyone want to read out their post to us so that we can sort of have a couple of examples maybe? Don't be shy.
I can read mine, but I've not finished yet.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go for it.
So I said, I'm typing it in LinkedIn at the moment, but it's a bit annoying the way LinkedIn doesn't do spell check.
Yeah, so you could do it in Grammarly and then copy and paste it in, but it's a bit awkward on your phone. But yeah, definitely on a laptop.
Can I put Grammarly as an extension then on my toolbar or something?
Yeah, you can. You can make it a toolbar on your browser. So if you're using LinkedIn on your browser, I'm not sure whether it'll work or not. But if it doesn't, you can just copy it and paste it in and leave the 2 tabs up at the same time.
Okay, all right. So I said, are you looking for fun, engaging and creative workshops for your pupils? Then look no further. We have been making a difference to young people's lives for the past 17 years and deliver a vast array of creative workshops covering everything from fashion to dance, entrepreneurship to personal development, beatboxing to skateboarding. And that's as far as I got up to.
Yeah, good. That's really a good start. You're getting in lots of keywords and details that people are going to be searching for.
And then I was going to do a call to action then. After that, I don't know, say something like, please check out the website or drop us a line or something like that.
Yeah, get in touch. Some platforms are a bit funny about if you put sales speaking. So if you say like ring now to book and that kind of thing. So a lot of social media managers are doing it in a different way, like putting the contact details on the picture, for example, or just saying message us, send a message, so that they haven't got like a phone number or email on. Personally, I don't think if you've got an account where you've not got 1 billion followers, you know, if you've just got sort of 100 followers and you or 200 and you just want to keep in touch with them, I don't think Facebook's going to kick you down the algorithm because you put a phone number on. But it may be just, contact us or send a message, and then they can go into your page to find out the details. Yeah.
You might be coming on to talk about this a bit, Vicky, but you know, there's only so many hours in the day and there's only so many platforms you can be across. It's really worth just spending a bit of time finding out where your audience is. So in your case, Sissy, you might know this already, but having worked in education a bit, teachers don't use that LinkedIn that much, but they love Twitter. You know, Edu Twitter is massive, and there's a really, really good platform for engaging. There's all sorts of people doing interesting things there. So yeah, whatever your audience is, find out where they operate most, and you can focus your efforts there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. It's really hard to maintain all 4 social media outlets regularly. So I'd probably get onto all 4 in the first place, so that you've at least got your details up there and a contact, just in case someone searches for you on that platform. And then you find you'll get more engagement on 1 or 2 of the different platforms, or even, you know, 3 of them. If you're getting really good engagement on all 4, then go for it. But that's another good tip, actually. Canva, if you get the Canva Pro, you can create images, graphics, and the post, and it links to your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn as well, and I think some other platforms. So you can schedule that content then to go out when you want it to go out. It needs to be 1 image per platform, but you can just copy them and make a new file, and then schedule it. So you can block posts. So maybe if you spend like 1 day a week or every 2 weeks or something, just scheduling out all of your posts for that couple of weeks, then that will save you a bit of time. And I prefer Canva just because it does all the different platforms, whereas some scheduling tools only do certain platforms, or they charge you quite a bit of money to add them on. Good, that's a really good one, Sissy. Thank you for sharing it. Does anybody else want to share a post?
People could also type into the chat if they prefer to do it that way.
Yes, good idea. Copy and paste it into the chat if you don't want to read it out. One good way of also building visibility. We're going to go through visibility in a minute, but if you've got a WhatsApp group, Shelley, going on for the Time to Grow,
we do, yeah.
So we, in our WhatsApp groups, we set up a Time to Grow when we started ours in 2000. We'll put our links in there and just say, ladies, please, can you share this? And I've got one for my clients as well, like a little client group where we don't talk, we don't chat on it, we just have just post links up, and it's like a visibility group so that people can, so that your posts don't get lost in feeds and stuff, and we give each other a bit of a boost by liking and sharing if it's relevant as well. So
something else that I find really useful is asking for help, as well as offering help and solving people's problems. So you're looking for partners in this area, or you want to know how to connect with people in this area, just go and ask. And people love to help on social media. And you can say, even if you don't know, you just say, who should we be talking to about this thing that we're working on? And it's a great way of networking and starting to find the people out there who are working on similar things, and building your reach that way.
Definitely, I don't feel that you're being cheeky for asking, because if people want to help you, they will help you. And like you say, we help each other a lot in that group. We do. It's really supportive. And I have got that on this very slide, actually, Shelley, about asking people. So to build your community up, community online is it can be difficult to build up because you've got your page up there, you've got your images, you've got really nice branding, you might even have a website, but to get people to engage with you week on week on week is difficult. So the biggest tip that I can give you is put some posts up, try and post every day if you can. If you can, try and put some time aside every week so that you're putting at least 1 or 2 things up a week. Just do it, like on the train, or maybe while you're waiting for pasta to cook or something like that. If you just think, I've just got 5 minutes, try and dedicate it to your socials and get something up. Marie, have you got a question?
Yeah, my question is more, well, I'm a writer, and my question, since it's still a part of advertising, is about the back page of a book I intend to publish. So I wanted to read the little thing I put there, and for you to tell me if you think that's good enough to get somebody, attention or curiosity. Can I read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I said, if you think you had it, okay, sorry. The book first of all is going to be like a poetry collection about the roller coaster of emotions. So I said, if you think you had it rough, you are definitely not alone. If you had lots of good times, compare them to mine. Embark on this roller coaster and enjoy the ride. If it's too much for your little heart, take a breath, then hop back on. When you reach the end, and I trust you will, I'll be there, all eyes and ears, yearning for your juicy feedback.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Seeing that it's that kind of writing that you can use in your posts and in your, if you've got a website or blog. It's that kind of sort of engaging writing that's going to get people interested, isn't it? So yeah, that's good, Marie. Thank you for sharing it. That's really good. So yeah, be inventive as well. Be inventive, be creative. So but we're building the community. So always start by sort of connecting with people that you already know. And it's surprising how many people you know locally, even people who live on your street or who are in your clubs, or all the mums at school, and kind of ex-colleagues. Get connected with them, because like I said before, even if you don't think that you're going to do business with them, or that they're going to be interested in what you do, they might know somebody who is. And if they see your stuff and tell somebody, oh, somebody I used to work with does that now, give them a ring, passing on names and referring, it's happening all the time. Increase your reach by tagging people in, and this is one thing that I keep forgetting to do, so I need to remind myself to do this. Every time you post something, it's probably relevant to somebody who you know or who follows you, and even if it's if they don't sort of engage with you, like for example, we have the food pantry here in Shevington. So if I'm posting a Twitter post for them, I always try and remember to tag in like local schools, counsellors, the football club and the rugby club, because they have kids who go there and there's parents, involved with them. And they will often just give it a like and a retweet. So it really is worth tagging people in, because they might miss your post otherwise. So try and remember to do that. You can Flourish, I'm sure I would advocate you tagging them in to social enterprise related stuff that you want to share. You can tag me in as well if it's, about your marketing or anything like that, or if you want to tweet about this session, or any information or advice that I might have given you, go for it, tag me in and I'll retweet you. And the philosophy basically is this givers gain philosophy that I learned on a networking session. So givers gain is all about, like, if you give something to people, even if it's just a little bit of something, then they are more likely to want to engage with you and help you in the future and give you something back as well. So commenting, you can give it by commenting on people's posts, liking them, sharing them, and always try to reply. So if you've got a good post going and you've got a few replies on it and you've replied to them, but you noticed, oh, nobody's shared it though, people just liked it, but I'd really love them to share it, then just send somebody a little private message and just say, oh, would you mind sharing that on your business page, or retweeting it for me, because, you know, I want more people to see it. Is that okay? And then they'll probably likely in a couple of weeks text you back and say, oh, do you mind retweeting this for me? I'll send you a link. And it's reciprocal, isn't it? Always try to reply to someone's comment as well. I've noticed on LinkedIn especially, it's quite bad manners if you don't do that. So if someone's commented on a post and they've said, oh, I really like this, thanks for sharing it, then just a little quick comment like, oh, thanks very much, I thought it was time to share this, or I thought that you might be interested in it, and just try and reply, and it keeps that momentum going with your conversation. You might ask them a question then and say, oh, thanks for replying, I'm glad you like it. Have you ever found that, you know, you've had a bad day, or have you ever found that you've had trouble with a plumber, or whatever your post is about? Try and continue that conversation on your own posts. A really good way of building your community, and this is something that I'm going to do next, it's next on my list, is to create a group on Facebook and invite sort of your inner circle. So it's not just going to consist of people who randomly see posts on Facebook. It's going to be people who are engaging with you, sort of your internet faves, you know, the people who really going to post and comment or buy from you if it's a customer-based one. So anyone who you think who will support your business, invite them to the group. You can do that quite easily on Facebook if they're your friend. If they're not your friend, you can send them a little message on Messenger, or even put it sort of on an email. So if you're sending out emails, we're going to look at emails in a little bit as well, then ask people to join this private group. I know some people who do this really, really well. Julie's got one, haven't you? Julie Green for Marbles Baby, and Debbie Marsden's got one too. How do you find your group, Julie? Do you think it gets more engagement than your page?
Yes, definitely. I've probably got double the number of people in my group that are following my page. And I've found that really with, sorry, I'll just put my camera on a minute and I've got it turned off. Yeah, I've found that with both of my businesses, that the groups do get a lot more engagement than the pages now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
It's like a safer space, isn't it? It's a bit more private.
Yes. Yeah, because I know, like with my Bump to Baby group, what I wanted to do with the group was have it as like a community space for families and businesses, but for families to be able to go in there and ask questions, you know, that they might find difficult just putting on their own Facebook profile, and didn't really want to be, you know, there were questions that they didn't want to get judged on. So yeah, the group does work really, really well. Yeah.
Good. And I do think it is the way forward, because I think posts sometimes can get a little bit lost in it. If people follow like hundreds of pages, it's difficult if they haven't already been engaging with you to get it seen. But if you can hook them into a group straight away, then they're much, much more likely to get shown posts and notifications, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know a couple of my business contacts who have them, like Debbie Marsden, who's got a dressmaking business. Well, it's like clothing for children, babies. She's got thousands of people in that group, and every time she launches a new product, she tries to give them a little bit extra, the people in the group. So she'll always give them like a special offer code or a competition. And she sort of offers modelling opportunities for babies and kids and that, and they get free clothes. So it's a really good little community going on. And then you're more likely to get people to buy off you, but also to tell their friends about your business as well. You can be a bit more chatty as well in your group, and especially if you're dealing with subjects that are a little bit more sensitive, like we talked about DV before, or like emotional issues or menopause or things that people might not particularly want to discuss, like Julie said, on a public group or on their own profile. Then it's a nice way to get people to feel a bit safer. As long as you make the rules clear, like no screenshotting within the group, and keep things quite nice and private in that case. Make sure you've got good rules up there. I set up a group for local mums called WN6 Mums in my area, and that's got about 5,000 members now, and that's over sort of the space of about 10 years. And it is a public group, so you can see the posts publicly and share the posts, but you've got to answer some questions to come into the group so that I know that they're not like scammers or businesses that aren't related to families and that kind of thing. So that works as well. It just gives you a little bit of a filter on who comes into the group. So these are the people who are gonna really support you in the future. And then this is where I moved on to sort of email addresses. So there's a lot of rules about who you can email and what you can email to them, and it's all under the GDPR legislation. You might remember that coming in about 5 or 6 years ago now. So there used to be pretty much no rules on emails. You could just email anybody. And this, weirdly, doesn't apply to postal mail. You could post anything through anybody's letterbox. But if you want to email them, particularly if it's a personal email rather than a work email, there are lots of rules about that. So you need to register with the ICO if you want to do emailing. But basically, if you've got a business and you're holding people's information in any way, shape or form, if you're holding phone numbers, names, addresses, email addresses, dates of birth, any information about people, you should register with the ICO. And this is a body that sort of governs information in Britain. It costs money. It's about £40 a year to be a member, but it gives you the training then on GDPR, and it helps you to understand like data breaches, what to do if you've got a question, that kind of thing. But if you can start building up your email list of customers or people who are sort of engaging with your contacts, then it's a really good way to keep in touch with people, is to send them out a newsletter every now and again. And it drives traffic to your socials as well, on your website. So that's something to consider.
Vicky, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
With the social side of things, you were saying you have a group and you ask questions, try to avoid scammers, etc. Do you have any kind of liability on social media if something does go wrong in a group that you're admin for or something like that?
I would just put on the rules at the top of the of the page that people have to sort of agree to, and I would put something along the lines of your comments and your comments are attributed to you. We take no responsibility for the comments made in this group. And I would also put, like, I have one about sales. because
Yeah.
people try and sell stuff to each other, and sometimes it falls through, or they sell it to the person who didn't answer first, and it gets a little bit heated sometimes. So I just put on one of my rules that they have to sort of tick is we don't accept responsibility for selling, buying and selling, and I've put this is not eBay. So
Okay, so it kind of disclaimer, and then you're all right.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's so many different social media groups now and pages that it would be really difficult to sort of hold the admin responsible in sort of court. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. People are responsible for what they post, aren't they?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and obviously if anyone's getting argy-bargy in your group, then you can ban them. And if you've got a page and people have posted negatively on your page, you can ban them from your page, and you can also hide the comments. So even if they just like said something a little bit ropey, but you still want them to follow your page, you can just hide their comments so they can see it, so they think it's still there, but nobody else can see it. So that's quite a good one for
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Then they won't send angry emails saying, "Oh, well, why have you banned me from your page?"
Yeah.
But generally, I found it really positive actually on Facebook and more social media. Really, it's very, very positive in general. So previous achievements, so these are the things that can help feed into your content, into your posts when you're thinking about what to post. And I looked at this a little bit last week in a session that I did about kickstarting your career. So think about the things that you want people to know about you. So your work experience, where it might have been years ago, it might have been something that you did, in school, but you want to highlight the fact that you really enjoyed it and it set you on your path or whatever. Don't discount things because they happened a long time ago. You're volunteering, if you've done any. If you haven't, I would recommend it. It's a really good way to meet new contacts and gain new skills and just feel good that you've sort of helped society, even if you just do it for a few weeks or months. Try and get involved. Parenting, lots of people have had gaps in employment because they've had time off for work, especially women. So you can highlight the fact that you've been a parent and that you've had, responsibilities, and we'll look more at soft skills in a minute. But just because you've had a gap in work, it doesn't mean that you haven't been building your skills at all. Caring for elderly relatives, perhaps. Fundraising, if you've got any fundraising experience, even in your PCFA or charity, maybe you've done charity runs and that kind of thing, you've got some fundraising experience. That's really good to sort of highlight. Any awards that you've won or been nominated for, that's the goal. Oscar coming soon. And any feedback as well that you get from people. So comments, thank you letters. If it's not online, I would ask people if you can put it online, and you can also anonymize it as well, so that it's just like from a client. People don't tend to bother too much if it's anonymized, and I'm sure they'll understand why. But if it's on Google and it's in their full name, or it's on Facebook, then share away. I usually put it into a little graphic on Canva, so it's in my branding colours and there's my logo on there, and just the title, like client feedback. So all these sort of achievements, this is how it could go into your content. From work experience, for example, you might have photos from the time that you were doing it. You might have throwback pics, so you might say, "Oh, throwback to year 2000 when I was volunteering in Africa," or something like that. It's really worth mentioning what you've done in the past, even the distant past. You can tag in the people or organisations that were involved in that experience to get them engaging with you. you can use special occasions and national days of awareness to get involved. A lot of people did Valentine's Day posts. Some were about, you know, being single, loving yourself, and love, or some were about, you know, remembering to, you know, appreciate the people in your life. Or there were lots of different ways that you could spin that. And the same goes for all special occasions, doesn't it? And I always tell people, if you've got a big special occasion coming up like Christmas, and your business is doing a special offer, or perhaps summer holidays, and you want to aim it at children, then try and plan that in advance, how you're going to market that, and schedule it in advance so it doesn't come up on you and you think, oh no, I haven't posted anything. If you get things scheduled in advance, then you'll be ahead of yourself a little bit. There is a calendar online as well of national days of awareness, and there are hundreds. So whatever you do, there will be sort of 4 or 5 events a year that you can get involved in. Fundraising, yeah. If you've won a bid, or you've managed to raise some funds, then that's really worth shouting out about. And the people like the National Lottery, if you ever get funding from them, or you know, the supermarkets or anything like that, they will always appreciate a tag. And some of them actually ask you, like if we get a community grant from the Wigan Council, they will ask us to put their logos on, and not just their logos, but where their funding came from. So like the European funding, that kind of thing. So they will ask you to include their logos and mention them. If you are looking for awards, and you can self-nominate for lots of awards, which is something that I didn't really know, but you don't have to wait around for somebody else to do it. So nominate yourself, or ask a friend or a colleague to do it. You might just get shortlisted, you never know, you might win. And for the feedback, ask, and it comes back again to what Shelley was saying before about just asking for help. If you've got a customer who's happy, ask them to leave you a review. I text somebody last week, because, or a couple of weeks ago now, where I went on yell.com and I've listed my business on Yell, and I didn't have any reviews. And some of my competitors didn't either in our area. So I texted one of my favourite clients and said, Alex, please, can you leave me a review on Yell? And because we've been working together, and we've done some good work together, he said, yeah, of course I will. And he left me a really good review, which then I could have won over the competitors on yell.com, but I could also use that in the graphic, which I put out on social media. And I've got a testimonials carousel on my website as well, which has got like 6 or 7 examples of feedback.
And Facebook's another good one for reviews, isn't it, Vicky? You can get people to give you a review. Once you've got the review, you can then paste it across your different platforms, like Vicky says.
Yeah, definitely. Facebook, Google review as well. They're really important, because Google's like another social media platform that you need to consider, really. So even if you haven't got a website, you can get on Google My Business, even as, you know, self-employed as yourself, and register yourself on Google My Business. And then when people are searching for you, they'll know that it's a verified by Google business. And
they might not even be searching for you. They might just be looking for something in your area, and then you appear on the map as well. Yeah, that's a really valuable one. And you're in complete control of how you're listed there as well.
Yeah, and I think it's something like 60% of searches for products and services are geography related. So they'll say plumbers in Wigan or plumbers in my area. And that is massive, because if you're not on Google My Business, then it doesn't really know about you. It will show up socials on Google, of course. They're really they come up really high in the Google search, but you might as well, for free, get on Google My Business and use that. You could post up events, offers. It's really quite good. Videos. It's definitely worth utilising that, and utilising your reviews as well. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes we need to turn a negative into a positive as well. So like we were talking about those gaps in employment, we talked a bit last week about how gaps in your employment mean that you've actually been using your soft skills a lot, because if you've been parenting, you've been using your organisational skills, you've been, by doing the shopping or the meal planning, you might have been transporting children around the place, you're responsible, you've got all of these soft skills that come out of different roles, and they don't have to be in the workplace. So yeah, I'm going into soft skills a little bit deeper. So for example, this is one soft skill, organizational skills. So if you've got good organizational skills, it doesn't matter what job you're in, you're going to be able to hit the ground running and kick ass a lot quicker if you've got really good organizational skills. So I've used some examples of where you might have you use your organizational skills in everyday life. It can be literally anything, even traveling. We were talking about going on holiday, how much organizing does going on holiday take? And that is massive, because you've got to apply for your passport, maybe if you're going abroad, you've got to get tickets, transport, money, hotel, everything. But it's huge. So try and think about the examples of where you've used those soft skills and bring them into your posts and your content. If people can see that you've got these skills, then it makes you much more sort of attractive to work with, basically. And so I've got, communication skills. If you're basically on this call, you've got good communication skills, because you can already, you're using video conferencing, aren't you? You've got digital skills from emailing as well. You might have a website, or you just use websites and apps. Everything that you do on your social, it's all communication and digital skills. Approachability, I've put, people often ask me for help or advice. I'm a local parish councillor here in Shevington, so people often ring me up and tell me about disputes with neighbours or overhanging bushes or whatever, and then I sort of signpost them to the right place, or put in a complaint on the app, or sort of reports on the app for them. And that makes me more approachable, that people know then business-wise, that they can approach me. Teamwork, you might play sport. If you're in a team, literally in a team, then you've shown that you've got that skill. Working with people, colleagues, partners, volunteering again comes up all the time, because that's massive amount of teamwork usually as you volunteer with people. And working independently as well. So if you've done any studying, or even stuff like housework and running the house, you're usually doing it independently. DIY skills I've put as well, because crafty, you need to be able to use your initiative and have some common sense and know-how. So that's always a good skill to get in there too. I think I put driving as well at some point. So if you do drive, you've got a driver's license and it's relevant to sort of what you want to do, then that can be a soft skill that you might want to highlight. Networking. So once you've got your branding sorted and your socials are up and running, we're going to look at websites and portfolios in a minute. But networking is a really good way to make more contacts and get more followers on your socials and your LinkedIn, and do business with people. There's loads of networking groups which are in real life or online. So Eventbrite's a brilliant place to find them. But if you can try and attend regularly, like make your face well known in your area by attending. Some of them are just for an hour or 2 hours. Some of them, there's daytime ones, nighttime ones, online, whatever suits you. It will help you find people who can help you, and you'll be able to help other people in there as well. And like we said with the givers gain philosophy, if you're in your first networking meeting and you say to somebody, oh yeah, I can put you in touch with them, or oh, I know a business that you might want to use, then yeah, you help him. And then nurture these relationships, because you will learn from people in those groups. You might learn what not to do as well, so with some groups, but you might learn, you will learn lots of tips on business, owning a business, running a business, getting a job, networking, and upskilling basically. So Flourish is, you're already in touch with Flourish, so that's like the perfect network for me personally, because it's for women. A lot of some networking groups can be quite male orientated, so it's nice to be in a woman only space sometimes. I've set one up called Proper Good Networking, which is we meet once a month online and once a month in person as well. And that is only women, but not because we've banned men, just because whenever we get a man coming, they're the only man in the room normally, and then they don't come back. But we do welcome men as well. Fub Hub is one that's in Wigan, and that is female only, and they're live again now. They did go on Zoom in the pandemic, but they normally meet at the DW Stadium, and that's it's £10. Mine's £5 to join, to come. Fub Hub's 10, but it's a bigger group, so there's probably about 30 women come to that each time, and there's always a couple of speakers on about local issues. So there'll probably won't be one in your area if you're not in Wigan. Let's just find out where your nearest one is. We've got Professionals of Wigan as well, which is on a Friday afternoon, so I can never make it because it's right in school pickup time. But if you're around on a Friday afternoon, it's supposed to be really good, and then they finish in the pub. So, you know, what can you say? Shout Network's quite big. I think it's nationwide, but they have lots of local meetings. And again, they're quite good with the speakers, and they offer training as well, as do the FSB. The FSB is the Federation of Small Businesses. I think you have to be a member, and that's about £150 a year to join that one. But they do offer some really good training in the FSB. So for your first year, especially in business, I would probably recommend joining FSB. They give kind of legal backup as well. There are quite a few benefits with that membership. But yeah, get yourself on Eventbrite, have a look. You might find industry-specific networking groups, which are probably going to be nationwide, but you know, if you join like the, I don't know, Stonemasons of Britain association, then they will run networking groups so that you can meet like-minded people. Does anyone know of any other networking groups that they've been to and sort of would recommend? No, should have a look at the Facebook as well, because if you're in a group with you know, like-minded people or people in your trade, there might be the opportunity to start your own network, you know, get an event going, or even if it's just coffee or something like that. Ask people, and they're usually willing to meet up.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Vicky, especially if there's nothing happening in your kind of sector and in your area. There's a really good opportunity there to get something going, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. And the more the better, really. And even if it only lasts for a few weeks or months, then at least you'll have made some decent contacts. Yeah. So for websites, if you fancy getting a website for your personal branding, then lots of people are doing this now. Even people who are not running their own business, they might be looking for a job. They want to get the CV on there and all their experience. A lot of photographers have them to showcase the work. So a lot of self-employed people have them. So personally, I would recommend WordPress or Wix for a simple start. I like WordPress the best because it's quite simple. It's a really well used, I think it's the biggest platform for websites in the world at the moment. And there's lots of little plugins as well. So if you get a business subscription with them, it's about £240 a year, I think. But you can get the plugins with it then. If you don't want to pay that much, you can get a cheaper version, which will you can still quite easily set up pages and a blog on there.
Yeah, WordPress, you can get free templates, can't you? And
yeah,
just to put in a little plug, we're actually running a session specifically on WordPress, how to set up your own WordPress website on March the 15th, if anyone's interested in that one.
Yeah, that with the Village Web Design. Yeah, Claire Worthington is brilliant. So I would, if you're thinking of getting a website, go for it. And even if you decide to set up on the basic cheaper subscription, you can then upgrade if you want to. So if say you wanted to put a shop on there or something like that, then you could upgrade to the business package. You can get WooCommerce integrated into it, which will link up to all like Square and PayPal and whatnot. And it can really evolve. So it can start off very, very basic and cheap, and then as you get more expensive, you can do more things with your website then.
And I think just to highlight the point about the websites that Vicky's mentioned here, they're all ones that you can update. So I think a mistake that some people make at the beginning is they pay maybe a developer to build their website for them. And then every time they want to add some new content or update it or tweak it, they have to pay a developer again. And the ones that Vicky's mentioning here are ones that, as long as you're reasonably okay using a computer, you can do all the updates yourself, which will save you a huge amount of money in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of web developers are really taking the mick, really, because they're charging thousands and thousands of pounds. And some of the websites are, it is time consuming to build your own website. But if you can learn how to do it, it will save you a lot of money. And at the end of the day, it depends what your business is really. But if you're happy with the basic website, some basic information, couple of videos maybe, and a blog, that's all you need really to get going. Sorry, Vicky, I was going to say there's another halfway point, which is you pay a WordPress designer to put together the basic website and make it look all slick and beautiful. Or, there's Shopify, there's Wix, there's Squarespace. But once they've been made, it's down to you to do the updating, which is really straightforward. There's what they call a WYSIWYG editor, which is what you see is what you get. So you literally type in title, you type in your text, you add a photo, and it will update. So that's another option as well. Yeah, definitely. I've done that for some of my clients as well, because they're a bit funny about wanting to do the design bit, but then once they get going, they're fine to update it. But Wix, I find really, really good. It's probably the easiest one to use, Wix. It's just a bit glitchy. So if you've not got a really good sort of internet connection or laptop, a really newish laptop, it can be quite labouring to do your updates because it constantly updates. It does live updates, but it is super easy to use. So have a look and see what you think. And you can always change it. You could always set up on one and then change it to another later. It's a bit of work to do, but if you've not got too many pages, then it's...
I just add something about Wix. So I used the Wix website and built my fashion label website on their platform, but I didn't sign up straight away. And I think they were offering like the business package was like £20 a month or something, and I didn't sign up. And then about 3 weeks later, I got sent a deal to have the whole year for whole 2 years for like £90 a year or something.
Oh,
If anyone
good.
is thinking of using Wix to sell anything on, sorry, my video's not on. If anyone's using Wix to sell, then sign up and then just wait for that deal to drop into your email box, and it'll drop in and they'll offer you the whole business suite for 2 years. It works out something like £9 a month or £8 a month or something, and it would have been like £20 a month.
That's a really good tip. That is, yeah, definitely try that one. And also there's some offer codes that you might be able to find online. And there is, for WordPress, there's if you type in WP Beginners, I think it's called, or WP for Beginners, they run loads of blogs on how to update pages, and you can do the tutorials on YouTube. But they also offer codes in the comments, so that you can get like cheap plugins, and you know, you might be able to save yourself a little bit of money doing that as well. So for page wise, I would just set about creating about 3 or 4 pages. Your home page is going to be your sort of the landing page of where people get to first. So I'd probably make that the About You page, or type in some basic information about you, get some text on there. Photographs are really important as well. If you can, try and spend a little bit of money on a photographer. If you can, then your camera is going to take really good photos if you've got like a newish phone. If you're struggling to get the lighting right and whatnot, try going outside, because usually that's the best place to take pictures. You're going to get exactly the perfect lighting. Or if you're inside, make sure you're facing the light and the light's not behind you, and setting the same outside as well. But if you can, try and spend a little bit on a photography, even if it's just to get some digital images, and then you've got them then for the next couple of years. They're not going to outdate. And you can do a lot with your photographs, especially on Canva. You can remove the background, you can put all the filters on. Yeah, if you've got some decent photos, then that's the first place to start, really. So if you've got your About You information on your front page and maybe contact details, you can put a form on there, a contact form. It's all pretty easy to do, and like Shelley said, it's like what you see is what you get. Building blocks. So you just put in a block for the heading, a block for your picture, a block for a video or whatever, and it's fairly simple to use. If you get stuck, you can just Google and go on YouTube and watch a tutorial. And basically, I'm self-taught, so everything that I've put together has been because I've just spent ages looking around WordPress going, how do you do this? And then eventually just thought, I'll just Google it. And then I've pretty much never come across anything that I couldn't do, or I've managed to find a way around it anyway if I couldn't do it. So then blog posts. If you're on WordPress, I'm not sure how Wix works with blogs, but if you're on WordPress, you can type a blog post in that then gets fed into the WordPress world of blogging, where people from across the world read blogs, and it goes into various feeds and that kind of thing. So you can put tags and categories in there that will help more people see blog posts. They also get fed into a nice page where your newest blog comes in at the top. If you want to pin a blog to the top, you can do that, so it's always at the top. If it's like the history of me and you want that to be the first one, you can pin that to the top of your blog. And on your home page or on other pages, you can bring in blocks that will show you a teaser of the blog. So you might have seen them on websites where they sort of scroll across with different blog posts coming through. So your blog is your space, basically, to write, be creative, and express all those things that we were talking about before about what's it called? Ikigai. I can't remember the name now. So I probably Ikigai. That's it. you can bring all of these things that we were talking about, all your beliefs and your passions and your experience and your soft skills, everything into your blog. If you've done some keyword research with like the hashtags that we were talking about before, and by keywords, it might be a key phrase, so it might be marketing in Wigan. That counts as a keyword, but really technically it's a phrase. If you've got keywords sorted and you do a little bit of SEO research, it's dead simple. You're basically using the same keywords throughout your website. You're putting them in things like headers, in your web address for the blog post, but if it's already in your title, it will appear in the web address on a blog post. You're going to put keywords in the first paragraph and also in your meta description. And a meta description is the little snippet of text that you see on Google when you search for a page or an article, and it'll bring up, the blue heading where it's got the name, the title of the page, and then underneath it's got like a paragraph about what information is on that page, and that's what's in your meta description. So if you've got a keyword in your meta description that is relevant to the page and the content, then Google scores you highly. So SEO, by the way, stands for search engine optimization. So that's all it is. It's just trying to get the search engines to push your website and your articles up the rankings. So yeah, all the geography keywords, business keywords, brand names, anything like that. Things like posting links to other pages are good for SEO, posting links to your socials, and you can get little icons on your page to do that. Linking from page to page within your website is brilliant as well, so that you can offer people more relevant content. If you want to read more about the time that I went on a training course, click here, and you're building up this little web. It literally is like a spider's web of links between your pages and other pages on the internet. And the more of those links that you have, as long as they're not ridiculous, like you've got 1 million on your website or something, because that looks dead suspicious. If you've got some valid links on your website, then that will also push you up on the rankings.
And
Get your contact.
Just
Sorry.
on the rankings, inbound links. So the links that if other people link to you, that's really powerful. So it's worth, if you start getting clients, or if there's people that you're partnering with who've got established websites, if you can ask them to link to you if you run something for them, or if there's some relevance there, having that link from somebody else will again shift you higher up.
Definitely. Yeah, I've got my clients on the website quite a bit, and I've got the logos on there. And yeah, I do try and link to other people's websites. But if you go to Neil Patel, and Neil Patel's got this website called Uber Suggester, and that's where the keyword suggestions come in. But you can find out where people have come to your website from, and not on Google, but on from other websites as well. So it might be one link that somebody's posted to your website in a blog that is like donkey's years old, but it's resulted in like 100 people coming to your website. So it really is quite powerful, that the link thing. So yeah, again, it comes down to asking, doesn't it? If you can ask people to post your links in their website, or write guest posts for them, do collaborations like that. I did a collaboration a bit with Debbie, who does the children's clothing, so she's really good on social media. So I designed a poster for her. She got it printed out in like A1 size. It was massive. Then she put a picture of herself in front of the poster and saying like, thank you to Vicky for designing this. It's gone in all the gyms. And she posted that on her social media, and then I reposted it on my social media, and I had my own pictures as well that I added to it. And also all that cross promotion, that was just within social media. That's basically like doubles your reach or trebles your reach, even if they've got more of a following. So it's the same with websites. If you can do a bit of collaboration by doing a guest post or a video with somebody, a podcast. I've just done a podcast with Alice from Remade in Wigan, and we were basically talking about our businesses for an hour and the social enterprises and that kind of thing. And it's dead good fun. We did it with a cup of tea and whacked it onto Anchor FM, and that goes onto all the different podcasting platforms then. And yeah, that's another range of media for your website, which another thing that Google loves, isn't it, Shelley, having a big range of media.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we've got some podcasting sessions coming up, so make sure you look at those. But also you can do it the other way around, because if you're anything like me, it takes me forever to write a blog. And sometimes you spot a really good piece of writing and you think, oh, this is absolutely spot on, you know, the sorts of messages we want to be communicating, or our audience would find this really useful. And so far, no one's ever said no to me yet. If you write to them and say, this is what we do, we'd love you to be a guest blogger on our website. Could we run this? And as long as you credit it all, people are often really happy to share their content, which means that you've got more content in your website, which builds the value for your audience.
Yeah, definitely. And like, if again with the links, if you're linking back to their website as well, they're getting a link out of it, and they're getting a bit of a reach. It's a social media opportunity for them to share that, you know, they've been published on somebody else's website. So yeah, it's worth approaching people and asking them for collaboration, definitely.
Vicky, we've just got a question in the chat from Nikki saying, who do you use to host your websites?
I just use WordPress. I do it all through WordPress because I just think if anything happens and I need some comeback, they're fully contactable. They've got a really good on WordPress.com, not on .org, on the .com, because they're separate entities apparently. .com's got a really good help desk, and I've panicked a few times because I've not been able to do something, and it's got a live chat. Yeah, the live chat's brilliant, and they sort your problem out. They'll go into your website, find out what's happened, tell you what's going on, and offer you advice, or they'll fix it. So I always.
Can they host your domain as well as your website?
Yes, yeah, they can, and they can transfer it from other companies. I have used Bluehost in the past as well, because they just had a really good offer for a WooCommerce shop, and I was building somebody a shop on a WordPress site. So I ended up going through Bluehost because it was a little bit cheaper. But if you're doing it with WordPress or Wix, I would just get them to host it. And one piece of advice is don't rush to register your domain name, because if you register it on a third-party platform like GoDaddy or something like that, it's just an extra layer of sort of faff to transfer it away when you do build a website. So don't panic and think, oh, I've got to get this rushed in straight away. Just take your time, decide which platform you're going with, and then I would ask them to host it. But they're fully transferable as well. So if you change your mind and end up going with somebody else later, you can redirect and transfer. It's just a bit complicated, you might. Yeah. But again, web tutorials, they'll all tell you how to do it, and you just have to post a little bit of code into the back office settings of your website to transfer it.
And sometimes some of those things are, if people don't feel confident doing that themselves, that's something that a WordPress designer could help you get up and running with. If those sorts of things concern you, they can do it very, very quickly and easily and cheaply, and then you can work on the content yourself. Just got another follow-up question from Nikki saying, how much do WordPress charge, I think, for hosting?
For hosting, so if you get the basic version, there is I think it's about £4 a month or something. You can get a really cheap one. And that goes up to like the middle one that I'm on is the business one, which is £240 a year. And then you can go even further for like a professional one, but that's for sort of big, massive businesses that need a lot of memory and a lot of data running in the website. So
And
yeah,
you're helping other organisations build their websites, so that's probably why you need a bigger one, isn't it?
yeah, and for the plugins as well, because I wanted to be able to like integrate a my MailChimp sign up and do things like Elementor. Elementor is the one, the plugin that I use for design now. I've used it on the how-to website, and it does make your website look a bit more slick. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with the cheapest version of WordPress if you want to do that. It's just you won't be able to use some of the functions that you might want to use further down the line, but you can upgrade if you want to in the future. Yeah, and also actually, if you really don't want to pay, Google are offering free websites now. So if you sign up on Google My Business, you can get a free website. I think it's like limited to a certain number of pages, but it's worth having a look at if you just want to have a go and see what happens with it. And you've not got a shop on there or anything, it's just a basic information website, then it's probably worth having a look at that. I just saw that last week actually. Contact details on your website are also really important, because again, that's going to feed into the information that Google reads. And I've just read somewhere that if you've got a phone number which has an area code in it, that's really useful for SEO purposes as well, because it means that Google can sort of verify that you are in that area, and it helps the people who are searching for services in your area. And then I've put a portfolio of work on there as well. I've personally have got one which I created in Canva. It's A4 size, and I've got examples of my work which I literally screenshotted and then put into the Canva document. I think it's about 20 pages. I've got my prices in there at the end, and I've got a little bit of about the company, which sort of reflects the social value, which is I give a discount to not-for-profits, and I offer funded training in the form of the Beltin Fund, which I've set up myself. So I'll put a portion of my fees away for the Beltin Fund. So this is an example of how it might look. These are A4, but there's no reason that you can't do them on a landscape design, and I'll show you some of those after. You can bring your branding in really well to these, and you can actually, on Canva, you can make them, download them as a PDF or as PNG files for your social media and emails, but you can also download it as a video as well, and set the number of seconds that each page runs for. So you can set music to that as well. So it all becomes like a little bit of a, showy, it looks really nice in Canva. This is one that I created.
Sorry to keep plugging our other workshops, but we've got a focus session from Michaela in April, which is going to be all about creating videos, video content for people who've never done it before. And she's going to be doing a lot on Canva. So if you want some step-by-step tutorial how to do that, then look back for that.
Is there a Canva session as well, Shelley?
There is a Canva, yeah. Yellow Jigsaw are running a Canva session on polishing your brand using Canva. So that one's the 16th of March, and Michaela's video session is the 11th of April. Brilliant.
So there's no excuse now. You can all be experts in the next couple of weeks. This is what the Central Park one is, one that I created for a client. So he just wanted something to send out to commercial cleaning customers when they first get a phone call or an email and they're not sure about what you do, and they ring up and say, what kind of stuff do you do? Then you can just email them your portfolio, and it's got a bit of a description about what happens, some nice photographs, if you can call commercial cleaning nice. But yeah, he's got some like before and after examples in there as well, which is really good. And this is on the right hand side, that's my examples from my portfolio. So I've got page design, websites, things like blog writing examples, and all the rest of it. So people, because you forget what you do sometimes as well, don't you? Or you forget what you've done. And then it's nice to have something there that reminds you as well. So yeah, you can save it as a PDF. If you're going to print it, you remember that it's got to be in a multiple 4 pages, because you can have like a fold in the page and then 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Does that make sense? When you open it out a leaf like that, it's got 4 pages on it. So if you want it printing, try and do a multiple 4 pages. Use your images and text. This is where your photos come in as well. And Canva's got a library of stock photos that you can use their license for, and it's got a library of video clips as well. So you can have like, somebody walking through the woods, or a rainy day or something like that in the background. Or it's really clever what Canva can offer. And then I've got some examples of digital resumes, or CVs as we know them, but on Canva they call them resumes, the American word. So if you, wherever you are at with your career, whether you're starting a business or not, whether you're just looking for work, it's really useful to have a digital resume. So these can be as fancy as you like. They can be a static document with sort of a CV version. And if you go to Canva and search for CVs, it brings up loads and loads of templates in all different colors that you can just then click on and fill in, change the photo and put your details in it. It does recommend, well, I would recommend putting a photograph on there, definitely, so people can just see your face. And it helps people engage with you rather than just seeing a name. So this is where you can highlight all of your soft skills as well as your formal experience, your educational experience, and you can explain anything, gaps in employment, or you could look at trips that you've been on, educational trips or projects, special projects. So this is an example on Canva of a lady who's made a really nice one. So this is where your personal branding would really come through here. And again, you can download it as PDF or as a video, so that people can slide through. So she's just got a name on it. I mean, this was about 30 pages, so I've cut it down just for the purposes of this training session. But it is on Canva if you want to read it all. So she's listed the contents, and she's put a little intro in there about her personality and what she's looking for. That's really important as well, because you need to make sure that you're making some of the shots as well, calling some of the shots and say what you're looking for, if you're looking for clients or the type of clients that you're looking for, or if you're looking for certain collaborators, be specific. And then she's listed, she just made it really clear and visually what the skills are and what she's done in the past. And then there was lots and lots of pages that I've not included, but then at the end she's got the get in touch with me, and if you save this as a PDF on Canva, you can link that so that you could do a mail to link. I think you could definitely do a website link, so if people click on your website, it'll take them straight up to the website. And they've put site instead of site. That should say reallyGreatSite.com. But if you could have like a graphic on there that says click to see my website, and that would link through on a PDF. And then she said thank you at the end, which I thought was quite nice as well. And then there's this one's quite cool. He's like supposed to be an actor. I think these are just examples on Canva, so they're probably not even real people, but he's made it sort of a bit arty and actorish. So it shows, it reflects like what he does. He's put a picture of think that's his kind of old university. That's a really clever idea as well. Although I suspect he hasn't got the copyright for that. But yeah, with images, if you're using any images at all on your branding, you really need to have the copyright permissions, because people can sue you. So if unless he's taken this picture himself, that's absolutely fine. But if he has ripped that off the internet, then the photographer who took that photo could get back to him and say, you've used my photo here, I took it, you didn't leave a credit and you didn't ask my permission, so now you owe me like £500, whatever. And I used to think, oh, it's fine, you know, no one's going to follow up on that. But there are actively legal companies now that chase photographs. So they will search for the photographs on behalf of the photographer online, and they'll get a cut of the fee and the fine. So you've really got to be super careful with photos. But if you've got a Canva subscription and you've paid for it, or you've got the free not-for-profit version, or anything on Canva that you've signed up for, it will let you use under the Canva licensing.
And often, if it's a photo that's not been taken by a professional photographer, if you drop them a line and ask them, often people are happy to share them. Professional photographers, obviously, it's their livelihood, so you absolutely would need to get in touch and probably pay them. There's another great website called Pexels, which I'll put in the chat, which you can basically search all their banks for free images, and as long as you credit the photographer, you can usually use them for free. So I'll put that in the chat, and it's got a really good search function as well. And usually what I do is do a tweet or something to thank the photographer publicly for their image too. I'll pop that in.
Yeah, it lets you download the link, doesn't it, to the kind of Twitter account. It says say thanks to the photographer. So that's a really good way. Pexels is brilliant. And then there are options on kind of Pexels or Shutterstock to upgrade so that you could buy the photograph for a small amount, or you could take, if you're finding that you need, that you're struggling to find pictures on Canva or for free, then you can pay for a subscription of like, it's quite expensive though. I think you're looking at £100 a year, kind of the minimum, I think. But yeah, and the best solution is take them yourself. I went around Wigan when I set up with my iPhone, and I took some sort of arty shots of like the big face in Wigan and the building in Mains Park, the big observatory on top of the hill. And you can take close-ups of things, statues, bridges, whatever. You know, if you're in mindfulness, you might do the woods or a lake or something like that. And if you've taken some nice pictures, or even just 10 or 12 nice pictures, and then you can just use them kind of again and again and again, and it's a bit more personalized then as well. But yeah, that is a good point about copyright. So yeah, this is the gist of the online CV, and then you've got that ready to send out to it. People, sometimes if you apply for jobs or funding, if you're doing a funding bid, he's got video in this bit as well, which is quite nice. If you're looking for funding, you might want to upload this as part of your funding bid, and you could show some examples of your projects and the people that you've worked with. You could even use it for like your products and your services. So if you wanted to sell, you know, pizzas, you could put, you know, have your business story and then the menu and then how to order and that kind of thing. It's just really flexible. You could use it for more or less anything. And then again, he's got his contact details at the end, and a thank you. See you next time. So that's the end of the session, really, Shelley, unless anybody's got some questions.
Well, it'd be great to hear any questions. Thank you so much, Vicky. That was a huge amount of information, and thanks everyone for staying here and staying engaged. Oh, I can see a hand up from Marie. Is that a legacy hand, or is that a new question, Marie?
It is a question. My question is, if you write, because I can only speak from my perspective, if you write, and let's say, for example, Roller Coaster of Emotion, and it's the title of the book, is it better to advertise on social media as like the page, I mean the account, I don't know if I can call it account because I'm not on social media at the moment, if the account should be named Roller Coaster of Emotion and deal only with emotions, or if it should be my name, Marie Kenfak, and deal with different publications, for example?
I think that depends on what your plans for the future are. So if you are planning on publishing more books in the future or more work in the future, and you want, yeah, then I would set up a page in your name. You can do that as well because I've done it. Mine at first, Facebook might say you are not allowed to set up as name. So then I would put something like Vicky Gallaghan Beltin, and then you can change the name of your page after to just Vicky Gallaghan. It'll let you do that. I would set that up as a page and then post. If you want to, you can share your own posts from your page to your personal account, but you would need to begin with a personal account on Facebook. You didn't used to, but nowadays it won't let you set up a business page unless you have a personal account first. Does that make sense, Marie?
Yeah, I opened one like last week, but the question was because with your personal page, you have, I don't know, family or friends who might be linked or might be friending you there. So how do you then separate, or do you need to?
Yeah, I know what you mean. How do you separate like your business people from your contacts? I think I would start by inviting people to like the page who you think would engage with you. And then I would probably post up on my personal page a couple of posts or maybe one post every week just to say, oh, I'm now doing this. If you would be interested, please give my page a like. And if they're interested, those friends will like your page and engage with you. If they're not interested, they won't, and that's fair enough, isn't it? And then from there, once you've got like-minded people liking your page, then you can start to build and grow your community then. And there is now this thing on Facebook where your page can join groups as your page. So if you want to be in a group as your page, make sure you're not in it as a person first, weirdly, because it won't let me join a group as Vicky Gallaghan and then as Beltin. But if I'm not in the group, it'll give me the option to join as my page. And you can join groups as well in that way. And then when you post on your page, it'll ask if you want to share it within those groups or to those pages. And then I always do, or sometimes I do. And then people in those groups, like the Wigan business networking group, will see my post. And then if they're interested, they'll give me a like as well.
What's the difference between an account and a page? So like I was talking about that roller coaster of emotion that would deal only with the poetry related to emotions. What would that be called? Is it a separate account or is it called a page? And what is the difference?
And so your account is what you set up first of all to get onto Facebook. So that would be in your name, your personal account, and your page is like, it's not a person. It's a standalone page. So it's got different sorts of tools on there. So you might be able to put an advert. You could put an advert on it. You can use it for inviting people. So you can't invite people to like a personal page. You can add them as a friend. But I wouldn't recommend setting up. Some people set up the business as a person and try and make friends with the people. But Facebook really doesn't want you to do that. It wants you to separate business and personal. So yeah, I would definitely set up your own account under your own name, and then set up a page for which is also in your name. But like somebody that I know has got one he's called Alex Winstanley Author. And then all of his author stuff he posts on his page. And then he might share it onto his personal account or his other pages and groups. But it is there as a separate entity. So sometimes people do post up, start a page for one product, but the danger of that is that once you finish promoting that page, it's going to be irrelevant then for the people on it. But if you've already got a good following on your page and you bring a new product out, then you can keep promoting your new products on the same page then going forward.
Thanks, Vicky. That's really helpful. I think we've got another question from Abby.
Hiya.
Yeah, it's just hi. I'm just talking obviously about with it being sensitive subjects and stuff like that for DV and doing the private groups. How would that then work with promoting if people obviously want to remain anonymous because they're not going to then necessarily check posts and things like that?
Yeah, I think you would use your page then for the promotion side of things, and you can post onto your page and then post that same post in your group. So people will still see the page posts inside your group, but yeah, for wider promotion, obviously it's only going to be seen by only the things on your page are going to be seen by the outside public. But yeah, you can cross post.
Could group members just sign up to the private group without having to like your page, so they can keep themselves anonymous?
I think so, yeah, I think they can. You can send them a link to your group, so I don't think they have to like the page, no.
Because another option is just to have a private page, which you have to accept requests to, just a completely separate page. So you could have like a public facing business page and then a very private page for people who wanted to sign up to the group and remain anonymous.
Yeah, you can change all the privacy settings on your group and your page, I think. I'm not exactly sure with the pages because usually when I set up a page, I want everybody to see it. So I've not really gone through that process. But with groups, you can certainly set it as a closed group. You can even have it as a secret group so people can't search for it on Facebook. They'll only be able to join if you give them the link in an email or a text.
Brilliant, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, I'm conscious we're just coming up to time. So are there any we can probably take one more question if there are any, and if not, we'll wrap up for the day.
Okay, this little action plan at the end is just for something for you guys to tick off as you go along with your personal profiling. So I'll send this PowerPoint to you, Shelley, if that's okay. Would you be able to?
Yeah, sure. I can circulate it amongst everyone here.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Well, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you, Vicky. That was brilliant. Really, really useful. I've learned loads there. So thank you. And thanks everyone for joining us this morning. And we look forward to seeing you again at one of our future workshops.
Oh, before we go, Shelley, can I just save the chat as well so I can contact